when the news dropped that the club was going to be relegated financially, I think it was on my birthday actually, and I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. By the time the news dropped and everyone's kind of looking at me on the bus, the last thing I ever intended to do was to put a club in a difficult situation financially. And you could see that, MLS guys were getting fair opportunities with the national team. It made sense for me to go to a place where I knew I was going to play week in, week out.
Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. Volkswagen has long been a supporter of soccer in America and has proudly been a partner of U.S. Soccer for over 5 years.
Welcome into Unfiltered Soccer, presented by Volkswagen. He's Landon. I am Tim. What's happening, LD?
Hey, I'm glad you're not in the East Coast.
No.
You get hammered by snow. You're in Seattle. Why are you in Seattle? Appearance?
Yeah, I was here doing a corporate event, and then I went and saw the game, spying on the enemies, Sounders, and my former team, Colorado Rapids. So it was great. It was interesting. Good night of football. As you know, up in Seattle, you have tons of
it's so good.
You have tons of memories from that. So yeah, it was good. It was raining.
So
they don't care. They're like, this is home. This is how we rock. So it was interesting. Yeah, Seattle. The West Coast. West Coast is better right now, and I never say that, but like, given the blizzard on the East Coast, yeah, I'm here for
That's right. It's beautiful here.
Yeah.
I have to say, my son's team, their youth team they just dominate everyone. They have a couple kids on their team that are like elite. My son scored a goal yesterday. They're playing in their state cup semis. And so my wife was showing, actually my son came into my room last night. He's like, do you want to see my goal? I'm like, yeah. So he shows me the goal, and it's really sad, Tim, and we'll get into this when we have a youth soccer episode. They have this new guy is coaching them. I'm trying to watch my kids score this goal, and all I can focus on is this guy is on the sideline talking to the kids the whole time.
The coach?
All you hear is like, go here, move here, Asher, pass there, don't do this, don't do it. And I'm like, shut the hell up. Jesus. Like, how do these kids ever learn how to do anything on their own?
They don't.
Oh my! I just wanted to enjoy the goal, and this is like I'm like come away from it pissed off. Anyway, I digress. I'm off my soapbox.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm here for it.
We'll get there at some point. All right, welcome in, guys. Please follow us on social media at Unfiltered Soccer. I got this cool pair of shoes sent to me from U.S. Soccer, Tim. I have to show them to you. I'll show them to you next week because they're in my closet.
Well, hang on. I didn't get I haven't been home. Maybe they're.
No, you haven't been home in like a month, but you probably didn't get them anyway. But I was feeling like I'm not going to wear them, but I kind of want to give them away. And then I was thinking the way I'm going to give them away is one of our subscribers I'm going to give away to. So that's your directive to subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere if you want these cool shoes, or you just want to subscribe.
I would like them.
Okay, subscribe then. And as always, you can email us at feedback@unfilteredsoccer.com. All right, MLS opening weekend.
Yeah.
Great weekend.
Yep.
Great. I did an event on Friday night in LA ahead of the 2 LA games. There's just buzz, energy. Let's start with LAFC.
Did you go to the games? Or you did the event?
No,
did you go back home?
No. I just went back home. 75,673 fans at the LA Memorial Coliseum, home of my first ever U.S. game, made history as the highest attended opening weekend game in MLS history.
Yeah.
And boy, did LAFC not disappoint. Absolutely smacked around Miami. It was impressive, man.
Yeah.
It was really impressive. New coach with Mark Dos Santos, and they were really good.
LAFC
really good,
man. They're good. I feel like I think the cool thing about LAFC, which again is sort of your arch nemesis, but like ever since they've come in the league, and big credit to John Thornton and all the players and coaches that they've had, like they're never really bad, right? And I know that sounds not a very good baseline, but when you're coming from that position, and you're often really good, you're never having to like rebuild. You're never having to go, oh, we were crap last year. Now we've got a lot of pressure. They're just very good. They're a very good organization. I think they've got some good pieces. Look, the Inter Miami thing, it's one game, but I am interested because you and I have spoken on this show about like what are the priorities this year? Are they? They've added, but again, Jordi Alba was sensational.
Tim, that I want to cut in because
go
I
ahead,
was
please.
with Diego Valeri was at this thing, who used to play for the Portland.
He was
absolute
so
legend.
good, by the way.
So good.
God, he was so good.
Taylor Twellman was there and Carlos Vela was there at this event. And Diego Valeri said to me, and he's like, he's commentating, so he's following around. He said, guys, people have no idea how important Jordi Alba was to that team. Like, have no idea. And you take it for granted. Yeah, Jordi Alba, and you got Messi, and so he gets overshadowed. He was so good for that team.
Right,
and I'm not saying this is how their season's going to be, but you could tell there was a lack of like leadership and bite because of that.
And I think so.
For sure.
And I'm just looking at it, I'm thinking, what's the narrative? And I don't know. We're not going to know. We're not going to know the narrative until, a month or two from now. But like, again, we know Jorge Mas has talked about prioritizing, certain trophies. They've already won. We talked about it. They already won the Supporters Shield, already won MLS Cup. How much does the league matter to them? Now, I know people are going to be crazy. Don Garber's going to text me and go, shut your mouth. That's not how we're not going to say that. And I mean that truly. Look, Messi's still a spectacle. I'm just wondering, as a team, what are they going to prioritize this year? Yeah.
Right. It's gonna be interesting to watch. And Messi picked up with his, certainly in MLS, with his villain stature. He went. There's some confrontation with the match officials after the game, and after further investigation, apparently he never entered any restricted area, so he will not be.
I bet he didn't.
He will not be suspended. I don't know, dude. I'm not gonna speculate on that.
Know
like sometimes he did something wrong. And this one, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But so he won't be suspended.
Nope.
All right. So Nashville.
Yep.
Talking of good attacks, because LAFC, by the way,
you like
with
their
Wonga, Martinez, and Son are nasty. But now with Nashville, Sam Surge scored 2 goals, Hani Mukhtar with a goal, and the new signing Warren Madrigal with a goal and 2 assists. They're really good, man. They are real, and they have Christian Espinoza, who came from San Jose, so they're really nasty. They pounded New England 4-1. It could have been worse.
Who did I pick for Golden Boot? Did I say Son?
I don't know.
I think I said Son.
Maybe
Sam Surge is going to be.
You're changing it to Surge.
No, I'm not. He's just going to be. He's going to be up there. He'll be top 3 in the league for sure.
I mean, they have so many weapons, man.
I know.
They have so many weapons.
Yeah,
So they're going to be a fun team to watch.
Yep.
Our guy, Michael Bradley, let's go.
Yeah.
Away from home at Orlando, not an easy place to play. They started 3 teenagers, Tim.
Yep.
Adri Mehmeti set up Julian Hall's goal, who we'll get to, second goal. 17-year-old Matthew Dos Santos started in defense, and then Julian Hall was the star man. He scored twice, 17-year-old.
Yep.
Scoring 2 goals in a professional game at 17 is really impressive, man.
Well,
really impressive.
Yes. Yeah. And I just sort of, Red Bull have such an incredible way of operating, right? And obviously it's a huge win for Michael Bradley. I'm curious as to, and I don't know the answer to this, but I'm curious as to if these 3 teenagers, if he coached them in Red Bull too, because a lot of times what you get, and you see this sometimes when a manager gets promoted from different clubs or within the club, they trust. Managers and players have trust. Yes, they're young. Yes, they're young. But if Michael coached these players, then nobody knows better than Michael Bradley that these players can perform at this level.
Yeah.
And so is it a risk? Yeah, but clearly he knows something and has seen something beyond just preseason. So it's a really good start.
And my guess is there's some directive from above to like, not necessarily play these guys, but play young players, and we will back you and support you, and we want them to play.
It's a good start.
I mean, it's a fantastic start. I'm so happy for him. So happy. All right, and then in your neck of the your neck of the woods, your people, your team, Houston, and their newest DP star, I had to look him up. He's 30. I was like, this is not like a 18, 20-year-old. I think it's Guilherme Augusto. Scored twice in the 66th and 77th minute to lead your Dynamo to a win. So good start for him.
Good start. I mean, I have to say, Pat Onstead and Asher Mendelson, I think they've put together a sneaky good roster.
They're really good, man. They're really good. They're both very good.
And what does that mean? The West is a freaking gauntlet, man. And you know this. We talk about it all the time. It's so hard. But when I look at the roster that they've built and constructed, and obviously having been a part of those discussions with them, they've shown this is really good. Guilherme is a really good signing. I think you saw sort of the second goal he poached, which is which is also a quality. But the first goal, I mean, he's literally running away from defenders, running away. And so, yeah, it's good. There's a good feeling in the building. Obviously, I know that because I'm inside of it. But, you know, when good feelings inside don't always translate to results. And the fact that it translated to a result after a good preseason, yeah, we're happy at the moment.
Yeah, and Chicago, I think Chicago are going to be a good team.
Yeah.
Like that's not just like a ho-hum. So I thought that was really
Sure.
good. All right, so some bad first impressions. Our producer, Andrew, struggling with this
poor
one.
Andrew. Poor Andrew.
So the Union, Philadelphia Union, made Ezekiel Alado their most expensive transfer ever. And so what does he do in his first match to show his appreciation, Tim? Gets sent off. Gets sent off. The referee from Pool Reporter after the game, Guido Gonzalez Jr., the referee, said Alado directed an obscene gesture and language at DC's Lucas Bartlett. He was given a straight red for offensive, insulting, abusive language or actions. Thoughts?
My thoughts are, I don't know what was said.
Sure.
If it was of the racial nature or homophobic nature, slam him, throw the book at him. Could care less about people who say that crap. Now, the interesting part, offensive, insulting, abusive language. That was like my regular vernacular when I was on the field.
You would have been sent off every game.
Which so I'm like, I'm sort of in the camp of like, things get said, and I was a bad guy. When I crossed the line, I wasn't myself. I was somebody else. And the amount of crap that would come out of my mouth directed at officials and fans and other players, it was like, you're giving it to me, I'm giving it to you, but I'm going to give it to you worse. So that's just how I was. And so the offensive, insulting part, I offended and insulted a lot of people. But again, I don't know what was said. So I'll be interested if that comes out. We don't know if it's going to come out. But again, so long as it's not racial and homophobic, I'm sort of on board with the entertainment side of the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And let's, again, make the caveat. We don't know what was said. So if it was truly nasty in that way, then he should be sent off. Referees have an obligation, in my opinion, to understand how emotional the game is and not get caught up in it. Now, that being said, if he told Alado over and over, look, stop, or I'm going to send you off. Stop, or if I tell you one more time, I'm going to send you off. And then he has no choice. He has to send him off.
Right.
Or was it just an emotionally heard something and he sent him off? There was a story. There was a time, I don't know what year it was. We were playing at DC. It was like August, and it was like a 1 p.m. game. And everyone's like, what the hell are we doing out here? It was 98 degrees, 98% humidity. And one of their players elbowed me right in front of the fourth official, right in the face. And I was like, I went berserk. And like, having been to therapy, I know there was something deeper going on with me because I went crazy.
Yeah.
And I destroyed this ref. I mean, I should have been sent off 6 times. And for whatever, like, he had the understanding to know that something genuinely did happen, and he just slowly calmed me down over like 30. And I think refs have an obligation to do that. Now, if they tell you I'm going to do it, if you don't stop and you don't stop, then you got to do it. But again, we don't know all the information, but you have to be able to deal with, like, players are emotional. Things happen. You got to chill.
It's funny though, since you're on a rant about referees, I'm jumping in because something happened last night. So there was Colorado went down 1-0 at Seattle. Then they go down 2-0. VAR check, disallowed the goal, right? Okay, so it's not 2-0, it's 1-0. And then LD, there's a coming together. There's 2 Colorado players going for a ball and a Seattle player, right? And when you watch a game and analyze a game like we do, there's a timing element to things. I swear, the players hadn't even hit the ground yet, and the referee's on top of it, and he goes, bang, red card. And I was like, that was my brain was processing. I was like, that was so fast. That was so fast. And then, sure enough, the people around me were like, I could hear them saying like, why has he done that so fast? And I remember thinking, anyway, he went back, VAR, rescinded it because he basically was saying, I saw this guy throw a massive elbow. And then you look at the replay, no, there was no elbow. There was no face. There was there was nothing. And he produced it so fast. And I'm like, just relax.
Calm down, take a beat. Yeah.
So again, that's not a criticism of all referees. It's just I don't know. We'll have to see what the impact of the abusive language was, and just in general, take a beat.
Okay, and then, man, these two were bad. So Montreal traveled to San Diego, got absolutely obliterated 5-0.
5-0, man.
And Kansas City traveled to San Jose. I think the final was 3-0.
Yeah.
But I had to turn the game. I was like, they are awful.
Yeah.
Those two teams are awful.
Mhm.
And that's going to be tough seasons for those two, man. Their rosters are just nowhere near good enough.
I feel like Montreal,
I mean, nowhere.
I know. And you have to have deep rosters, man. You do. It's this league. You can't just
And
have
good
one-
rosters.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you can't just have
Some
one
of
or two
these
good players.
I'm like,
I know.
And credit to San Jose and San Diego. Like, they did the
Yeah.
job. They did the business. But, man, they're bad.
Yeah. The West is strong.
It is. Anything from you guys out there, let us know what your, I guess, initial thoughts were from opening weekend. But it was a good weekend. A lot of goals, a lot of fun. One other piece of news and notes. It looks like Josh Sargent is going to Toronto FC finally.
Yeah.
His final stats, this is wild. I was looking at this earlier. 5 years at Norwich, 155 appearances, 134 starts, 56 goals, 15 assists. So he scored one in every three, which is a really, really good return at that level. So I hope this happens. I think it's a little too much to pay, but it's just my personal opinion, but I hope it happens.
Here's what I think. As you said, that how you judge strikers, how we judge strikers at the highest level is one in every three. One goal every 3 games, you're a top striker for whatever league you're playing in.
Yep.
I believe this deal to be 5 years, and I think LD, based on stats and based on what I've seen, I think he's a 20 goal per year goal scorer.
I think he is too.
And if that's what you are in MLS, and by the way, the fee is high. Think about who you're talking about. That fee is low for Toronto. I mean, Toronto pays Toronto pays silly money.
They have the money, yeah.
Right. So that fee in the overall context is high, but for them, I think it's a steal because of what they've paid before, and they've gotten less. Right. So
yeah, that's fair. But my caveat is they have to put some good players around him too.
Of course. I get
that. No, you say of course, but like they really do, and I think they will.
Yeah, I think they will.
But this league is no longer like just have one good player.
I know.
Look at Nashville. Look at San Diego FC. Look at the LAFC teams who score. They have good players all around.
And look, and Robin Fraser's a good coach. We've seen that, and he's trying to build, and he will demand that. And I think they're going to build around him. I think this is the first sort of domino that post that chaos that they had last couple of years with their DPs. This is sort of like the rebuild.
That sounds right. Any chance he makes the World Cup team?
No.
I mean, there's always a chance, but
there's a chance. I mean, he'll be. Depends. I mean, if he comes in and just starts lashing goals in, which he can, we'll see.
I think he's a little far behind right now, but okay, we'll see.
Well, the other guys are scoring too.
That's true.
It's time now for the Unfiltered Refresh, sponsored by Coors Light. Choose chill. Get Coors Light delivered. Go to CoorsLight.com/USLNT. All right, LD, who chose chill this week? We're going to talk about American strikers. This is hard because they are all in sensational form. I'll let you start with Flo Balogun.
Well, the easy answer was that it's American strikers because they're all flying right now. The hard is, who is it? So Flo has 3 goals in his last 2 games, including 2 in the Champions League against PSG. Ricardo Pepi, his first match back after breaking his arm, came on as a sub and then scored a fantastic goal in their win over Heerenveen. Ajamong, no goals over the weekend, but he does have 4 in his last 7. And then Haji Wright, also no goals in their win against West Brom, but he had a hat trick the week prior versus Middlesbrough.
How amazing is this, by the way?
It's so nice. It was like over the weekend we were texting being like, Flo scored, Pepe scored, Ajamong had scored last week, Haji Wright. It feels to me that Haji Wright right now is just the hottest of the group. Flo is heating up, but he had been on such a long stretch without scoring. So I think mine for now is Haji Wright is the man who chose chill this week.
I can dig that. Yeah, I mean, Ajamang, 4 and 7 is just such a great number for a striker. You start hitting 4 and 7, you just think you can score every week. But yeah, Haji Wright for sure. I think the way that he's going, scoring a hat trick, the way that Coventry is flying, by the way, it could very well be in the Premier League next year. Haji Wright for me.
Okay, well, cheers to you, Haji Wright. Cheers to all of you. for choosing chill, but especially you. How'd you write? Long may it continue. Again, reminder to subscribe so you can get these cool new sneakers that nobody knows about yet because I haven't shown them, but they're really cool. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're joined by U.S. men's national team goalkeeper Matt Turner. Do we only have goalkeepers on as guests?
No.
That's all we have. Okay. Right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. Stay right there. The Unfiltered Soccer podcast is brought to you by Volkswagen. It's really easy to become a passenger in life.
Take control. Live life in the driver's seat. Learn more at VW.com.
Life. If we're not living it, what are we doing here?
Jump around. Jump up and get down. Jump.
So,
Let's go. This is dedicated.
Soccer is not slowing down. It never does. Massive fixtures and knockout clashes that'll leave you on the edge of your seat as we get into the decisive part of the season. The calendar isn't just full, it's absolutely packed with nonstop action. Club or country, every match matters, and you can cash in on all of them with FanDuel. New customers can bet just $5 and score $100 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. One winning $5 bet unlocks $100 in bonus bets. Goal scorer markets where you pick the heroes. Match results where you back the winners. Over-unders where you call the action. Same game parlays where you stack your way to bigger payouts. And so much more winning potential. The matches are coming fast and furious, but this is your moment to get in the game. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app right now and turn every match into your opportunity. Don't just watch the game, win with it.
LD, as always, special guest on the show, friend of the show, friend of ours. Matt Turner is here. We know your history in the Premier League with Arsenal and Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace. 2 stints now with the New England Revs. Of course, World Cup veteran from 2022. And currently in the midst of another start to an MLS season. Welcome in. We missed you. It's good to talk to you. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad. Trying to stay warm in these cold months in New England, but it's good to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Timmy, before you got in, Matt turned his computer to outside. It's just white everywhere. By the way, it's probably 68 degrees now.
Landon
here.
can't appreciate
Thank you.
anything.
Yeah,
he can't
honestly.
appreciate-
Hey, by the way, when Andrew put this together, I didn't realize this. Matt, I'm sure you know. Second place for most saves by a U.S. goalkeeper in a game ever, after guess who?
The man, the myth, the legend. Yeah.
Saving
game was that?
11 shots in a friendly against Brazil in 2024.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
game to do it.
11 shots.
Yes.
Is wild. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a busy game.
You know, with
that was off
international.
the
Go ahead.
I was off the back of like a tough game against Colombia too, so it was nice to then have that performance. So
what people don't realize about international games is like 4 or 5 shots can be a lot in an international game, right? In like a club game, sometimes 14 shots, 18 shots, but in international games, you get 1 or 2 chances. But to make 11 saves is wild. You need to have a word with your defenders, I think. All right, Maddie. Well, welcome in. We appreciate your grace as you flew back last night from Nashville. Tough start to the season, but you talk to us about now the transition with Marco there, and your it seems like starting new and starting fresh in New England, and how that's going so far.
yeah, obviously you don't want to start the season the way we did. It was a tough game in Nashville. I think if you look at the tape, there was some good moments for us and stuff that we can definitely learn from and build on. And I think that's the mentality that Marco has brought is kind of a level-headed approach of this is our process and we need to fall in love with the process, and that process will eventually, turn into results. And that's the process on every day in training, every meeting, every time we step out onto the field. So it's been nice to have a new perspective, and then in turn giving guys opportunities that might not have had opportunities in the past, because he came in with no dogs in the fight. He just wants everyone to fight and claw and show to him that they can contribute in a meaningful way. And I think that's been really refreshing. And then obviously just a whole new take on, okay, what can this club do to start to build back to where it belongs to be?
It's interesting because I always think about preseason, and as I watch all of the weekend's games, I feel like preseason is a rude awakening, or the season is a rude awakening, because everybody in preseason is like, the results don't count. So even when you don't have a good result in preseason, you pick the bones out of it. You're like, well, we didn't take any injuries, and we did some tactically some good things, and it doesn't matter. So you feel really good, and then the first game of the season, wallop, right? Like it hits everybody, good or bad. But I'm thinking also about having a new manager, right? You have New England, and then I'm thinking about Pochettino coming in at not long ago. For you as a senior player, right? You're 31 years old now. You've been around. You're in the prime of your career. Like, what is that? How is that day to day for you, right? Because then you have got to be the one, I would think, to sort of help drive culture in those moments, as well as look after your own performances.
Absolutely. It's challenging because you get comfortable the way things are, and obviously you want to do what's normal and feels regular to you. But I think in football, it's just ever changing. And if you don't adapt to change, especially in the modern game, if you can't adapt to change quickly, you're going to fall behind. So for me as a senior player, it's showing that I'm open to being coachable. I'm open to whatever the new idea is that the coach is trying to bring, instead of saying, well, oh man, I really liked when we did it this other way. And then being somebody that festers a locker room in a way that might be, so people say, oh, well, Matt is saying this, man, really, it was good when it was like that, rather than being like, nah, look, guys, this is good. This could be good. And you have to try to build that culture in that way. And I've always been a good locker room guy, I'd like to say. I'm personable. I like to relate to everybody. I obviously want the responsibility of playing because I think that's where my relationships with all the guys show the most on the field. But yeah, you have to be adaptable in the modern game, or else you'll just get left behind really quickly.
You know what I think is interesting? Sorry, LD, just to follow up to that is, I agree with what you're saying, Matt, because one of the tactical things that I used to think about was, I was always on board with the new manager, right, LD, as a senior player. I was always driving the message, showing that, like, what do you want, Gaffer? Okay, look, even behind the scenes having conversations. And here's why. Because, and you both know this, every now and again, when the shit would fly in a game, and I, as a senior player, had to stand up and go, we ain't doing it. I know he's talked about playing out of the back, playing through lines. We're under it right now. We're going long. And guys are looking at me and I'm going, I just said what I said, right? And then we can go in the dressing room and say, look, Gaffer, I took that on my own back, and he then can't criticize me for not being on the same page, because all I've ever done was try and, you get what I'm saying, in the moment. So yeah, it's just it's such a responsibility on your shoulders. That's sort of how I see it, Matt.
Definitely, and you don't want to take away the tact and the feel of the game that any of your players have, because you're all there for a reason. So as much as the ideas are the ideas at the end, I think every coach will be happy if you end up with the 3 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, you still have to play the game. Okay, so let's talk about adapting and change. So for people who don't know, this whole Lyon situation, and I had actually forgotten about it till Andrew brought it up again in here. And what was that whole situation like for you? And can you explain it just a little bit for people who don't know, and so they don't have to Google it, but just what happened, and then how does that impact you as a player? Because I think it's a really fascinating story.
It was challenging because when the opportunity for me to get out of Nottingham Forest presented itself to a club like Lyon, I'm thinking, this is a home run situation. I'm going to a place where I know a few of the players, with Tanner Tessman, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. The guys I was at Arsenal with Ainsley, and I'm going to a great city that people have said nothing but good things about, passionate fans. And I'm thinking, this is kind of a home run, and the timing of the move. I did my medical in Chicago. I was with the national team, and got everything all sorted and sort of ready to go. So it was kind of like I was ready to turn the page and start a new journey. And when the news dropped that the club was going to be relegated financially, I think it was on my birthday, actually, June 24th. And I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. Like I didn't know kind of what it meant, but
Do you
I
hear
want,
that news, Matt? Sorry to jump in. Do you hear that
yeah,
news? Like, does your agent call you? Are you reading it
yeah.
online? Like, okay, so your agent calls
So
and says,
yeah,
okay.
my agent kind of had a wind of it earlier, and so by the time the news dropped, and everyone's kind of looking at me on the bus, like because it came through as an
Yeah,
ESPN alert,
yeah.
and
That's
everyone's
wild.
looking at me like, dude, did you see this? I'm like, yeah, I already
Yeah.
kind of know what's going on. But yeah, the last thing I ever intended to do was to put a club in a difficult situation financially.
Mhm.
I'm looking at the bottom line and I'm like, this is a home run for me. They're not guaranteeing me anything, but it's another opportunity for me to get in a new environment and try to prove myself.
Mm.
And they were selling their number one, so all was to play for essentially in
Yeah.
my mind. And yeah, so when it came out, essentially my transfer was the one that would sort of put them over the threshold of what was financially allowed. We had to find a solution because I didn't want that to be the case. If you are that person that puts that club in a position, you will, no matter what happens, no matter, you could play worldy every single week. I
Yeah.
could have they could have been in League Two, and I could have played every single game, clean sheet every game, got them back to League One. You still wouldn't be able to make that up. I feel like it would be
And
difficult anyway.
and that's
So
the sad part about it is that it's looked upon as if that happens, you've done that. By the way, if a
Right.
club
You did
gets
nothing.
themselves in that position,
Right.
then there's a lot of bad things and bad decisions that have been
Yeah.
made. But yeah, it totally and it has to be said because you can't say this. I think Nottingham Forest needs to sort of the way they do some of their transfer activity in the last couple of summers as it pertains to you needs to hold their hand up. They won't, but oftentimes LD these clubs, and we say it every week, they overcomplicate things for the sake of it, and certain things just don't need to be that complicated. But again, I understand you can't say that, but that's something that obviously I know and I will say.
mm,
So
thank you.
then from there, Matt, you land back with the Revs, and how does that conversation, how does that happen? Just curious behind the scenes, like what's that process like now that the Lyon thing isn't going to happen?
Yeah, so working in tandem with my agent Dan Siegel, and just trying to find a good landing spot. Really, I think
Yeah.
everybody understood that the pressure is high right now, and you don't want to make a wrong move at this time in your career because the margins are so paper thin with the World Cup right around the corner, and I want to be on that roster. So
Mm-hmm.
I think with the way the team was shaping up towards, between Gold Cup and into the fall, and you could see that, MLS guys were getting fair opportunities with the national team. It made sense for me to go to a place where I knew I was going to play week in, week out, and be not just a contributing member, but really somebody that's relied upon in a big way every single week again. And that's felt really, really good in a lot of ways because I feel like very quickly I just found that comfort and found that form again. And although we didn't make the playoffs, and that was my one hesitation about last year coming in, when you weren't going to be a playoff team unless you won, I don't know, I played 9 games
Every
unless we
game,
won
yeah.
7 of them basically. So that was always going to be challenging because you want to be playing when the pressure's on, when the cameras are on. You want to be playing in the big games, and like you said, in an international game, you want to be there 4 or 5 saves. You want to make those saves in the moments that people are saying, oh man, like the pressure was high and he can handle that. You don't want to just be, it's different making 2 or 3 saves in a big pressure game than it is making 10 saves in a game where you lose and it doesn't really matter. I think we'd all agree that you'd rather be in the position where you're making 2 saves. That means you're competing to win.
That's right. And I want to dig into this. So it's interesting to hear you speak because you're 31, you've seen a lot now. And what you said was the pressure and that you want to be on the World Cup roster, right? And that feels to me, as you're saying it, like that is maybe not the only goal, but maybe the most important goal, or what you're really looking at right now. And a lot of the younger players, I think, and they're in different parts of their career. So it's like, okay, this is a big club move I can make right now, and I can change. And you were in that position too, right? When you went to Arsenal. So when I made decisions in my career and I look back, I'm always glad I did things because it got me to where I am today, right? There are some things I would probably do differently in those moments, but the actual decision you make with the best knowledge you have. Do you look back at the Arsenal move or going over, and wish you had done anything different, knowing how it's panned out and how it went? Or would you say that was still the right move? And obviously there are financial implications too. How do you feel about all
Yeah,
that?
if we're excluding the money side of things, I'd say I don't have any regrets. The only regret I have is that I didn't push harder the summer before I went to Crystal Palace on loan on deadline day, that I didn't make it more. I don't know. I'm just like I said, I can be a nice person, so I'm nice to have around, I guess. I maybe just make things a little bit more difficult, so I could have ended up getting a move. Although I'm obviously extremely grateful for my time at Crystal Palace. Everybody knows how much I love the club, won the FA Cup, crazy experiences and all that kind of stuff. But I knew it wasn't going to be the best playing situation. It was better than the alternative, which was being stuck there at Nottingham Forest. But maybe pushed harder to try to get a move into a situation where I was going to be playing more consistently in that 24-25 season. But going to Arsenal, absolutely. I mean, I was 28 already. I didn't start playing professional soccer until I was 21. I didn't start for the Revs until I was 24, 25 years old, So, you get offered the opportunity. Everybody knows I grew up an Arsenal fan. You're going to go represent the team that you always dreamed of playing for.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing. And then at the same time, to remember, it was me and Zach kind of, right, that were fighting to be the number one with the national team for the World Cup in 22. And he was at Man City in a similar situation. So, and that was the age-old debate before the last World Cup. Do you want this guy that's performing week in, week out in MLS? Or do you want the guy that's getting every so often the opportunity to play at Man City? He's doing well, by the way, because we all know Zach's insanely talented goalkeeper. He's doing really well, but this put me on in that same pedigree, in that same, like we were doing the same thing. So now it took that part of the equation out of it, and it was just about how you can perform with the national team when you get the chance. It's not about what you're doing at your club, because you're kind of doing a similar thing. And so I don't regret it, because I actually do think that move is the one that propelled me essentially to becoming the starter in 2022.
But
I
the
can't
thing is,
believe, Tim, before you go, I just, as you said, we had two goalkeepers at Man City and Arsenal. It's just insane. Okay, go ahead.
insane. No, you and I sometimes differ on this, but like the move is you do it. There are no cons to it. You go. It's life-changing money. And I think sometimes what you forget is you were making life-changing money in MLS.
Right.
And not a lot of guys can do that. Not a lot of American guys can do that. And so like going over, I mean, he's got you 2 kids now?
2 kids.
Two beautiful kids and a wife, and he's got things to look forward to in terms of that financial. I mean, the financial piece is huge. It's huge. And I would also argue, because this happened to me, the way I look at it, LD, and you were on loan at Bayern Munich and you were at Leverkusen. I think the higher you can go, whether you're out of your depth or not, forget that. The higher you go, the shorter the fall. Meaning, if you go to Arsenal, then your next move is to Nottingham Forest. Like that, like it's a Premier League club. It's or
Palace,
Germany,
right?
or wherever. So I think you do have to leap. I do, even if you fail, because I went to Man United, had a pretty good stint, but guess what? In the end, I failed. My failures landed me at a brilliant Premier League club at Everton for 10 years. So that's sort of how my mindset was. Anyway,
That's fair.
yeah.
And in that moment, in that stressful moment, you're thinking, why the hell did I come here? You know what I'm saying,
of
Tim?
course.
Like,
Of course.
why did I do this? But then the chips fall where they're supposed to. I agree with that 100%.
That's right.
Okay, so let's move to the national team. So what was the process by which Matt Freese became the starter? And I just want to say before we get there, how you've handled this, and I don't know you that well, but from what everyone says and just speaking to you now, it was very, very classy and well handled, and the way any soccer player should handle situations like this, even though it's not easy. And maybe behind the scenes or privately, you can handle it differently, or speaking to the coach or whatever, that's fine. But how you've handled it publicly has been phenomenal. What was the process like? How did you take that? What did that feel like? Obviously, this is what you want. You've now become the number one, and then you're not. And walk us through that process and how you're handling it now.
Yeah, it was obviously really difficult, because I've always used the national team as sort of my North Star. Every move I made, every decision I've made in my career, try to better position myself for the national team. So when you lose the shirt and that responsibility, it's challenging, it's a punch in the gut, but I've always really appreciated that the gaffer now, him and I have a really clear communication line, and there's kind of like no ambiguity, and I don't do well with ambiguity. Like I just want you to just rip the Band-Aid, tell me like it is, and let's do it. And that's pretty much how it was. I think it wasn't like, oh, we're giving this to Matt and he's the number one now. It was more like, okay, well, we had the 2 friendlies in the summer, we had the failure at Nations League, and you know what? You've played basically every game under us, and we need to see other things. And he's not afraid to take risks and try things that maybe other coaches might not have tried before. And then credit to Matty, because in the end he's gone on and done well enough to continuously have the shirt. And for me, then my role then becomes what? Like, to support. I'm not going to make it about me, because the national team's bigger than me, and what we all want for soccer in America is bigger than all of our individual journeys. I think it's all we should have this like complex that it's us against everybody else, and we want to, no matter what your role is on the team, how can you do it to the best of your ability and make the team better for it, and make the soccer in America better for it in the long run. Because I think that we all dream of the best league in the world being here in America. And if we just continue to build things and then do well with the national team and things like that, you never know what could happen.
And
Matt,
Tim,
let me jump in real quick.
I know where you're going. I know exactly where you're going. Go ahead.
So I want to expound upon this, because I'm wondering if it's where you are in your career or just who you are as a person. A lot of people will say things like, the national team has always been my North Star. But we know, Tim and I know, when you listen to them or you see their actions, you go, that's BS. Like, it's about your club career, making money or whatever. And the national team is sort of secondary. And I hate to say that, but that's the truth. I believe you when you say it. And so
Thank you.
do you think that's a generational thing, how you view it? Is it because of your experience? Is it just the way you're built? Because I don't always sense that from this national team. And maybe I get it wrong. Maybe behind the scenes that is the case. But sometimes the actions don't say that. And I believe you when you say it.
It changed my life, Landon. Like it really did. Without the national team and the opportunities that I had, my career isn't the way it is. So I'd be silly to make not have gratitude for what the program has really done for me. And also, like when I was in England, I loved being American over there. I loved it because you realize how many people are like so infatuated with America, and it's really just truly just an unbelievable place to be able to represent. And man, like I got goosebumps yesterday watching USA Hockey win, and what it means. Then the interview Jack Hughes gave after the match, it was just like, this is what it's all about, and leading the way in all the sports. So I don't know. It's just something that it's given me the most pride, the most goosebumps, the best feelings I ever had on the pitch were when I have the crest on.
That's awesome.
When I look back at 2025, you had some lows. Not you, the team had some lows with the Nations League and some highs in terms of the 5-1 against Uruguay, was it? And then everything sort of in between. I think the Gold Cup that's sort of sandwiched in between there, and that was what we saw on the outside. It was sort of a pivotal moment, right? The biggest players that we have, for the most part, weren't there. It was a collection of guys who sort of, we don't know the conversations on the inside, but seemed to basically say, F you to everybody. We're going to circle these wagons and we're going to commit to this thing. And it was amazing. And unfortunately, though there was a loss to Mexico in the final, but there was a valiant performance in tournament. So, like, did you personally sort of see a shift with the team, with Pochettino, with going into the fall, saying like, okay, now we have this renewed sense of spirit and sort of direction? Because it felt like that on the outside.
Right. And from the inside, all I'll really say on that is what he said. So I think there was an interview right at the end of the Uruguay game where someone said, well, yeah, your regular guys weren't here. And he kind of was like, regular guys? What do you mean? This is my team. And I think that was the messaging in Gold Cup and that people buy into. It's like, nah, if you're called in there's no handouts. You're called in. The expectation is that you're going to perform with an intensity at a certain level, with a dedication at a certain level, and that those weeks together allowed us to really fortify that culture, because it's difficult. You come in halfway through a cycle, you don't have, we had the Nations League, but every window, even the Nations League games are like they're sandwiched in those 10-day windows, and you have 2 games. So then, finally have a longer period of time together where you can get that understanding, you can work on everything, and the building blocks from that culture, regardless of the final result. Like I was alluding to before about the process, you just fall in love with the process, and you understand the non-negotiables, and then you find the people that can help drive all of that home, and then it ends up showing out on the pitch.
All right, a few more, Matt. Can you walk us through some of the 2022 World Cup memories? I was there in Qatar, and like it was fun to watch as a fan. That was the first time sort of I was working, but also as a fan, and then some of the lessons, I guess, that you would have learned from that, and how you think, because you're clearly a leader on this team, how you can help message that, even though a lot of those guys were there, they're a bunch of new guys, and how you message that to them and what it's like.
Honestly, guys, and I imagine you felt the same about a lot of the World Cups that you played in, but it's like a little bit of a blur. The games come thick and fast, but that bubble that you create, and it's just so nice. I remember some of my favorite memories from the World Cup are the times where we were just all like watching the other games, playing pool together. Like we stayed in an awesome hotel. We got to experience a new culture that I might never have been over to see if it wasn't for that. And it was such a cool World Cup because everything was so tangible, right? Like as a fan, you could go to 3 games in a day if you wanted to. It was super cool. It was very, very different than what we're going to experience this summer. But my message would be like, relish every moment, but understand that the level of intensity is unlike anything you've ever seen. And so the most important thing is that no matter the outside noise, that we, stick together in our little bubble and we make the most of both boxes. Because in the game, in every game, there's a game from 18 to 18, and there's a game within each box. And that's the most important game of all. Because if you look at our game against the Netherlands, in the end, like we actually played pretty well. We lose 3-1, but really all 3 of their goals kind of come from similar fashion. And it's just like, we didn't make a play, or the ball went through someone's legs and we didn't make the final block, or we lost a runner. And no matter all the good that we did, they were more lethal in our box than we were in their box. And that is what ultimately, like I said, the process was good, all that, but the result wasn't great. So it happens like that, guys. It happens like that. And then you don't want to leave any regret out on the pitch.
Yeah, it does. It flies by. And I think that's probably something that you and I talked about, Landon, recently. And it's a really good point, Matt. Like when you're on the inside of that bubble, and you're at the tournament, you're trying desperately to balance like enjoying being there, seeing your family, and your kids, and like you're reading a bit of all the outside noise because it's fun to take in, but you're also like, we got to lock in, we got a job to do, we got to train, we got to sleep, and just is that I don't think we, people on the outside, I guess Landon and I aren't part of that but people on the outside don't understand what that, how difficult that is to lock in, and all of the emotions that go on in 4 weeks inside of meal rooms and hotel rooms and buses and locker rooms, and that balance is so incredible.
And it's going to be harder, Tim, in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Because in Qatar, like you're on that, what was that Pearl Island?
The Pearl, yeah.
And you're just so insulated. In South Africa, we're in Irene, and we're so far. But in America, you're just going to see it and hear about it
Which is
everywhere.
awesome.
So yeah, it's going to be a challenge.
It's going to be cool, but very different for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, from me, just 2 quick ones. I'll get you out of here. So let's talk about Arsenal. How are you feeling about Arsenal? I'm guessing you still have a ton of friends and contacts there. Obviously, my former teammate and Landon's former teammate, your old gaffer, Mikel Arteta, we're pulling for him. So you think they can get across the line and do it?
Yeah, I think this team's different. I think they get across the line. They just, they're winning games in many different ways, and
Yeah.
it just felt like this last derby was a statement, to come off the back of a disappointing performance and just lay down a performance like that and get goals from guys that hadn't been scoring quite as much as people might have expected them to. They're still having great seasons, by the way. But like, how Arsenal just gets put under this microscope. It's so funny having been in that and then now seeing how people talk about it on the outside. It's just, it's too funny to me. But the process, that football club, the people that work there, from the guy that's, saying good morning to you at the security gate to the people that are cooking for you, everyone is bought into the vision of what they're trying to achieve. And man, if they do it, I will be really happy for them.
It's a brilliant football club. Landon needs help in a lot of areas. And so I need you, as we close, to help him. So he believes in this myth called the Goalkeeper Union. And I try and tell him all the time, it's a load of shite. No one believes in it.
No, it's not.
No one believes in it. And so help him understand that it's not real. Unless, of course, you are a card-carrying member of this so-called union that I don't subscribe to.
Yeah, you don't subscribe to it? Well, that changes everything.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because Brad Guzan, who's a friend of the show, he watches and listens every single week. He's a dear friend of ours. He was a great friend. He always said to me, good luck, clean sheet. And I thought, you're full of shit. Every single time I said, you're full of shit. You want to hurt me? The way he squeezed my hand before the game, I thought he was trying to break my hand. He wanted me to concede 5. It's a lie. That's my own personal opinion. He can come on and tell us that himself.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I did notice a few firm handshakes in Gold Cup 2021 when he was dapping me up before the game. So I'm starting to reevaluate things here.
Right? Yeah, thank you. See, Landon just believes in this myth.
Tim, you heard him speak about Matt Freese, Zach Steffen. Everyone's great. He is clearly a card-carrying member.
I think Matt Turner's full of shit too.
No, I think you're an anomaly, and you just don't like anyone. So that's fair.
Oh, we love you, man.
All right,
Appreciate
Matt.
it, man.
Last thing I want to ask about, because I think this is maybe the most important question. So we saw a clip of Aaron Ramsdale saying that you were, quote, the funniest player on Arsenal, but for unintentional reasons. Meaning you don't know how funny you are, just in maybe, I don't know if he's saying you're weird or whatever. And that at one point you told Kevin De Bruyne in the FA Cup, relax, dog. It's a dog fight out there. Is any and all of this true?
I feel like you gave KDB the business.
I gave him more than there was definitely not. There wasn't 2 dogs, that's for sure. There wasn't relaxed dog, but
I didn't double dog him. All right.
I didn't double dog him, but you know what the best part of that is? I told him that in confidence after, because I was like, bro, like we lost 1-0 at the Etihad, and I played a great game, and Man City were what they were at the time. And I think there was a little scuffle up, and I think Rob Holding might have been down, and KDB was getting all like hot and bothered. I'm like, and I was just like, bro, like I told him, I did say, relax, it's a dog fight, bro, like just chill.
I don't mind it.
Because he was just going nuts at the ref, I'm like, just leave it right now, and like, let's get on with the game. I hate the crowding the referee. I'll never understand it. And yeah, so I like, we're playing cards after the game on the flight home, and I sort of like stop. I don't play a card, and I'm like, guys, I got to tell you something, and I tell him all the story of what happened, and he never let me live it down. He obviously threw that out to Raj on the Men in Blazers interview, I think it was, and it caught fire. But no, it's good. Him and I are still really good friends to this day. I guess I have to say, I'm a card carrying.
You are. You are.
I told you, Tim.
I love goalkeeping. I love goalkeepers. It's who I am. I guess I can't help it.
I appreciate it. Landon, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me.
You know that song? Who sings it? I'm the problem. It's me.
Morgan Wallen. I'm the problem. Something like that.
Problem, it's me. Oh no, I'm the problem is Morgan Wallen, but I'm the problem. It's me. Is I don't know. Is it like
whatever? He's not pop culture.
Okay.
That's not a thing for him.
Well, Matt, look, I will say, goalkeepers are so weird.
Stop it.
Always have. It's 'cause they're in their own bubble. They train on their own. They do all the. But you are the most normal goalkeeper I think I've ever interviewed or talked to.
I
So
appreciate that.
congratulations. Yeah, congratulations.
you.
And in all sincerity, wishing you the very, very, very best with New England, but also this summer, most importantly. And I think they're so lucky to have someone with such a great head on their shoulders and a leader who can help, who can put his ego to the side, you know, and let it be what it is. And by the way, the soccer world's funny, so you might end up starting in goal. You never
I
know,
say
as
all
you know,
these things, but I think you guys know I'm gonna keep pushing, you know,
No,
because
I
in the
know
end,
that.
like I'm not gonna be sitting here saying like, oh yeah, I'm happy to just be on the roster.
Oh.
No, I want the responsibility, you
Of
know,
course
and
you do.
I don't think there's any secret of that, but with grace and respect as always.
Well,
Good man.
we certainly appreciate you coming on the show, and I wish you all the best this season. You got a couple of games between now and the World Cup, so yeah, keep pushing. I can see you getting
Absolutely.
that shirt, so that's it's all exciting stuff,
Thank
man.
you.
And thanks for coming on the show.
Awesome.
I know our listeners were super stoked to hear from you. So thanks, brother.
It's stoppage time, sponsored by FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $100 in bonus bets if you win. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. All right, the return leg of the Champions League fixtures from last week. This week, we're going to focus on PSG and Monaco. Our guy Flo Balogun is scoring for fun these days, which is good for him. But unfortunately, I think for he and Monaco, this is going to come to an end. His Champions League run is going to come to an end. PSG just have too much. They're at home. They're up 3-2 on the aggregate so far, and I think they win. I think they score a lot of goals. I think it's going to be a one-sided affair. So Unfiltered Soccer's Champions League same-game parlay this week, PSG to win the game. They will go over 2.5 goals because I think PSG scored 3 or 4. Monaco are going to have to open up. The game's going to get open, and I think PSG scored 3 or 4 goals. Only one team will score, and that's PSG. I think they just have too much. Monaco will try to push forward, but when they do, they're going to get punished the other way. And Desiree Doué will score or have an assist. Absolutely on fire, and I don't anticipate that stopping anytime soon. Don't forget to check out the full list of Unfiltered Soccer's Champions League same-game parlays on our socials later this week. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll dive into your questions in the AT&T Fan Connection with JR right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, as always, presented by Volkswagen. This episode is brought to you by Airbnb. All right, Tim, you and I are going to be doing a ton of travel this year all over the place. And this is the first time really that we will, well, I can speak for myself, get to travel and really experience some of these cities. So, you know, when we were youth national team players or youth players, you would travel and you didn't really know much about a city. And people tell you certain things about a city, but until you're there and you experience it in a real way, you don't really know what the city's about. So we're going to be all over the place. I'm going to be in Atlanta for the first time for an extended period of time with the U.S. games there, all over the U.S. this summer, Houston, L.A., Boston, New York, Miami, Philly. You want to experience these cities in a real way, and that's where Airbnb comes in.
Yeah, and as we know with these big events, local accommodations can be tough to find because they are the host cities.
Yeah.
If you happen to live there, hosting your home on Airbnb can help lots of fans. And here's the cool thing. You might even make some money to fund your own soccer experience.
Yeah, your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
LD, we got a big year coming up, man. Huge year. Obviously the run into the Premier League title, MLS starting back up. There's a big summer of soccer going on. You and I are going to say that we'd be busy or we're going to be busy is probably an understatement. It's going to be chaos.
Mhm.
We're going to be here, there, and everywhere. I know you and I will find the time. I'm going to have to find lots of time to choose chill. Between crossing the country, being on all these different flights, you'll catch me in the airport, pulling up to the bar, having a Coors Light. And then, to be honest, in my off time, I'll be at the beach. Literally any single moment, LD, that I'm not doing something for the World Cup, which is not a lot of days, but I will be at the beach and I will have a cooler full of Coors Light.
Yeah, I mean, it's already started. As you know, I was in Vail this weekend, in the heart of the Rockies, by the way, doing an appearance. And we're going to be traveling a lot. We're going to be seeing each other a lot. We're going to be meeting a lot of fans and people. And we want to take advantage of it and enjoy it. But I keep reminding myself, I told my wife last night, like, we got to find ways to chill and choose chill so that I can stay energized, refreshed. It's going to be few and far between, but if we don't, we're going to have some problems. So thankfully we can choose chill, grab a Coors Light, relax, and make sure we're staying refreshed.
And when you embrace a chill mindset this year, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Choose chill from the start and reach for a Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/UFS, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer.
Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
There's nothing better than feeling like someone has your back and that things are going to get done even without you having to ask. Like your crisp new jersey waiting for you in the locker room or a perfectly set up wall for a free kick.
Yeah, as we on Unfiltered Soccer get ready for next summer, we know that very little in the beautiful game is guaranteed. But as we prepare to bring our unfiltered brand of nonstop soccer coverage, it's good to know AT&T has your back with the AT&T Guarantee.
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, AT&T will proactively credit you for a full day of service. That's the AT&T Guarantee.
Learn more at att.com/guarantee. AT&T, connecting changes everything.
Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or a wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Must be connected to impacted towers at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details. It's time for the Fan Connection presented by AT&T. Every week we invite you, the listener, to connect with us by submitting your questions. At AT&T, connecting changes everything. And on USMNT, our connections with you will help grow the game. All right, LD, it's time for the AT&T Fan Connection. We're laughing because we always have such a good time during this segment. Jordan, how's the snow?
Dude, please.
I'm
I'm buried alive. I'll never get
text
out.
to the group was so funny. This one, you sent us a video outside your front door, and there's this teeny little shovel walkway that goes to nothing, just another wall of snow. And I joked, and I was like, "How's the shoveling going?" And you're like, "I basically am shoveling that path to get to the snowblower."
Yes.
Wild.
And the snowblower will help, hopefully. But the problem is the snow has not actually stopped yet. So, and the wind is also insane. So we have these places where, like, right outside the back door, when the dog goes outside, there's no snow because it has blown it all up against the fence. And it's like almost as tall as the 6-foot stockade fence. It's wild.
But here, what I would say is rookie mistake, because you kind of need to shovel plow and then let it fall again and then shovel plow again. You're going one and done. It's not great.
Serious question.
Yes.
Is a snowblower like a leaf blower thing, but actually blows snow?
No, it's more like a lawnmower. And it pulls the snow in and then pushes it out
over the top. It's got like a chimney stack thing.
Yeah,
It's great.
Is it heated or whatever to like?
It's gas powered.
What if the snow is frozen, like becomes ice?
Yeah, it doesn't work so good.
This is her problem. I just said.
Definitely not my problem.
Okay. Well, how about we talk about things that are your problems, which is some of the comments that came in this week.
Yes.
A little less on the question and more on the comment side. So, Landon, I'm going to start with the smoke that comes your way.
Give it to him.
Okay. This one is from Bob via email.
Hey, Bob.
What's up, Bob?
Bob B.
It's just
Bob Bradley.
B.O.B. Just
Okay.
Bob. Here we go. One episode in November, a fan wrote in asking Landon why the World Cup is so expensive compared to Qatar. And Landon said that not enough people went to Qatar and FIFA is a for-profit business, so they have to make up the costs of the previous World Cup. This is incorrect. FIFA is a non-profit governing body, not a commercial entity. Sure, they rake in the billions, but with this specific World Cup, they're taking a cut from the sale of tickets and the resale of tickets. Quite frankly, FIFA is using the U.S. as an excuse to price gouge fans worldwide. I've been looking forward to this World Cup since it was announced all those years ago, and I can't go because I'm priced out. FIFA is supposed to develop football everywhere and for all and promote it globally, not just for people who can pay the outrageous prices.
Okay. I did say FIFA is a for-profit. I did not say they need to pay for the previous World Cup, so I'm not sure where that came from. Look, I'm sympathetic. I really am. But FIFA, technically a non-for-profit, but their mission, and it's not, their mission does not say to make tickets affordable for all fans, right? Can you read, Jordan, what he said what the FIFA mission was?
FIFA is supposed to develop football everywhere and for all and promote it globally.
Right. So they're doing it to promote. And look, I'm not like shilling for FIFA here. They are trying to promote it and grow it globally. And of course, there's been throughout the years a lot of misdoings and misdeeds by people in the past around FIFA. And so that's all part of it. But they are trying to grow the game globally. They never say we're trying to make it affordable for fans. They don't claim to do that. I don't agree with it. I've said I wish the tickets were way cheaper. I'm going to have to pay for it too. It sucks. It does. But big sporting events cost a lot of money in this country particularly. And it sucks, dude. I'm sympathetic with you. But they are trying to bring in as much money as possible so that they can do what they believe is best for the game to promote it and develop it. That's just the reality. You can like it or not like it, but that is the reality.
Have that, Bob. Thanks for calling in.
I'm just saying I'm sympathetic. I'm not saying I'm not
with
like
you. I'm with you.
I'm not. I wish
next
it were cheaper.
The next comment, and you can't win because the next comment's going to be, yeah, you have to pay for it, but you can afford it. So it's not. It's a never ending.
Look, I get it, but you want like $10 tickets to a FIFA World Cup game?
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, dude.
No, but $100 tickets would be nice.
I agree. And I told you I don't agree with it. I do think they can be, and they have, I think, adjusted, and I think prices will adjust.
I was going to say, wait. Do
I think they will adjust
wait.
because the market dictates what you can charge and not charge. It happens at every sporting event. So then I would wait. I don't like it, but it's just that is the reality. We can bitch all we want. It is what it is.
Sorry. You're going to have a follow-up. I know you are, Jordan. 2 seconds. LD,
yes.
Is it right in saying with working the World Cup, you're not going to get to go to any? Will you go to any games?
Maybe a couple with my family, but not really. That's what people don't realize about when you work it.
I know.
And I'm not, believe me, I'm not, it's not a pity party, but
no.
I'm just saying when you work it, you're either working the game or you're traveling to the next game.
I think I'm going to I'm definitely going to 2 games, but maybe 3, but I might just be tapping out at 2. So
yeah.
I will say, Bob, that those of us who live in the cities where World Cup games are happening are at an advantage because we can pull the trigger a lot later than people who were considering traveling either from outside of the country or from cities or states that are not getting World Cup games. So like the guys are saying, try to be patient and keep looking and seeing what the ticket prices are if they adjust over time, because, unless you were trying to decide between going to your cousin's wedding and going to a World Cup game, you can just make the decision like literally the day before and be like, all right, I'm going to go.
And I would advise going to a World Cup game over your cousin's wedding anyway.
Totally.
All right. How about some smoke for Tim Howard?
Give it. I don't care. Come
Okay.
with it.
So this one is from Russ via email.
Russ
would like to know if we have been watching the new season of Netflix reality dating show Love is Blind.
We have, Russ.
Okay, let me get all the way through the question before you say anything, Tim. Here we go. If not, I'm here to report that Tim's name was mentioned. One of the contestants is talking to his fiance, and he mentions Ronaldo. In her attempt to show that she also knows something about soccer, she says she knows about Tim Howard. The bad news is that the guy claims to have met him and says that he was a weirdo. He did not elaborate. The good news is that the woman then mentions Beckham, who the guy then says isn't even good, and there's a crying laughing emoji here.
My.
So on a super popular mainstream show, when listing off notable soccer players, it goes Ronaldo, Howard, Beckham in that order.
It's good company. It's good company. Here's what I would say. I had a friend, this first came to my attention, I had a friend video his screen while he's watching. I love Love is Blind, by the way. I've seen almost every season. I haven't seen last season, this season. I'm into it. And he shows me this clip of this guy called me a weirdo, and he goes, I'm going to find out where he lives. And I said, no, don't worry. It's fine. Relax. my friends are loyal. I said, relax. It's fine. And then, LD, you can appreciate this, but this is what happens when you have college-age kids. My daughter is at she's at the training ground. They have practice, right? So she's in like the corridor of the training ground, and she FaceTimes me, and she's in like her training kit, and her teammates, Go Vols, they watch all these shows. They watch all like Love Is Blind and Dancing with the Stars and all that. And she's like, Dad, you're never gonna guess what happened. And I was like, what? She's like, we were watching Love Is Blind, and this guy was talking about it. I said, don't worry, I'll handle it. It's fine. So anyway, here's what I know. Alex Henderson.
Is that the guy's name?
That's the guy's name. That's the guy's name. Here's what I would say. I know you're a fan, and I have this on good authority. So all I'll say is we can make everything right with the world, and you just issue a public apology on whatever platform. Whatever platform you're on, you can issue a public apology.
That's so good.
And I'll, in advance, accept it. If
That's
not,
so good.
if not, then I'll have more things to say about you. So we'll leave it there. How's that sound, Jordan? Is that acceptable?
Well, I'm not leaving it there.
Go, give him. Well, you did talk about.
So
Sir
I
David
watched
Beckham.
I saw the clip, and I don't what's this called? Fantasy Island.
Love is blind.
Love
Fine.
is blind. This tool. Even forget about saying that you're a weirdo, which is just the dumb. Like, what a dumb. He's trying to hit on this girl and pick up this girl by saying Tim Howard's a weirdo. Like, what an idiot. First of all, figure out a way to get some game. Second of all, saying it's Sir David Beckham, by the way,
Yeah, put
pal.
some respect on it.
Okay, Alan, whatever. Sir David Beckham saying he's not even good to try to impress some girl that you're like, what an absolute tool. So let's put it very clearly, Alan. Keep
It's Alex, but
Tim
Alan Walsh.
Howard and David Beckham, Sir David Beckham's names out of your mouth. Okay? And keep it as simple as that, pal.
Smoke.
Ridiculous.
Thanks, LD.
What an
Also, I
idiot.
would like to add the following things. One, Alan, Alec, Fred, whatever your name is, there's more than one person called Ronaldo in soccer. So maybe if you knew that, you would want some clarification on that. Second
there
of
you go.
all,
Love
those
it,
of us
JR.
who have actually, now I work on a regular basis with Landon, Donovan, and Tim Howard. I know exactly how weird these people truly are. It would never occur to me to ever use that word to describe anybody that I work with
So
to another
true.
person.
So
Like,
true.
if you want to be cool, like be cool. Tell people about the famous people that you've met. That's great. But calling somebody you've met probably once weird to try to impress a girl. I don't know who the girl is, but honey, that's a red flag right there.
Think about how hard he was trying to like really be cool by one showing that he knew Tim or came across Tim or something, and then to say bad things about Tim and Sir David Beckham is just like anyway. We're spending too much time on.
I
this
love
thing.
my squad. Thank you for having my back. You come at
All
the
right.
you come at
What's
the king.
next?
You best not
I
miss.
love
Yeah,
that we
you
asked this
best not
question and
miss.
Tim was like, I'm going to cut this guy some slack. And me and LD
He
are like,
missed.
absolutely not. We won't
not
be doing
happening.
that.
Not happening.
The public apology's coming for sure.
Okay, so LD, last week you asked people to write in with their World Cup emphasis predictions, and someone actually sent us one. So this is from Nick via email, and Nick said, everything will somewhat be centered around appealing to a broader audience and upping the integrity of the game. So here are his 3 things.
Okay.
Number 1, time wasting. Goalie rule, but also forcing players off for 1 to 2 minutes for injury time wasting. If they can stomp out the flopping stereotypes in the game, huge win. Number 2, captain-only communication with refs. And number 3, speedy VAR to keep the game moving.
Mm-hmm. He thinks that's what they'll be.
Yes.
The time wasting one has gotten it, like they tried, but it just like with anything, you have to then hold everyone to account. And they just won't do it. Referees will not do it. They're so reticent to actually enforce that stuff. I love, like, if you go down and the training staff has to come on the field, then you have to go off for a certain amount of time. I'm totally fine with that because there's times where you're like, just give me 15 seconds and I'm good. I know the pain will subside. And then there's times where like, no, I need treatment. So the staff has to go out, or a time limit. You go down and you get 30 seconds and you got to get up or you're off the field for a minute or something. I love that.
Here's why I don't like that, LD. As we're talking through it, there's like a subjectivity, right? And
Of
intent.
course.
And we're
Of
asking
course.
in certain rules, right, like tackles and different things, we're asking referees to. We're basically saying you don't know intent. That's not how you call the game. You don't call it by saying, I know what the defender was thinking, right? So we take that out of it. So then you can't then ask a referee to go, well, he went down and he's faking it. How do you know he's faking it? Well, because I can tell. Well,
Yeah, no,
you
that's true.
But, you can't, because we've said take that out of it. You're not you as a referee aren't allowed to sort of judge and gauge intent. When we've said that across the board, so then I don't think you can say that when it comes to. You just add more time.
That's true.
Properly add time.
Yeah, I mean, that's subjective too, though. You know.
Ish. It doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be, by the way.
What were the other two, Jordan?
The other two were captain only communication with the referees.
Another one I'm super in favor of, and they just won't do it. And I would love that to happen. In the first 3 games of the World Cup, there's a mess, and they just go yellow, 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 yellow. That's your second, sending off. Boom, done, over. And then everyone go, oh, okay.
Yeah,
because they've tried it and they just don't do it.
It works in rugby. It works in rugby, and it works really well in rugby. So
it's great. I love that.
It's just
one.
getting it over the line, right?
No, it's just the official doing it. And just say, I don't care. If you have to send someone off, you send them off. That's it. Bang, yellow.
The third one was speedy VAR to keep the game moving.
Yeah, that's a tough one because you got to get it right. So it could be, though. Yeah. All right. I like those.
Finally, a new rule.
Mm-hmm.
This one is from Robbie via email. Robbie says, Uno reverse. What if American sports were to adopt the player loan process? Could you imagine the Cowboys drafting a quarterback round 1 and sending him to the Browns for 3 seasons?
I mean,
okay. All right.
I love it. You hate it, Tim? Why not?
Go on. Give me.
So, well, I'm just saying, like, okay, this is a great. There are now many, many GMs, coaches, commentators who say, you have no idea if a quarterback is good or not if they're on a bad team. And it's happened over and over and over in history where, like, they changed to a good. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was drafted like mid-20s. But if he had gone to the Browns, is he the same quarterback?
Sure.
Because if you have no offensive line, you have no threats, your defense is terrible, so you're always throwing. You can't. How can you be good? Right? And so I love it. I think why don't, in baseball, they draft a guy and send him to the minors to develop. In the NFL, they draft him and they put him in, week 3 to try to be. It's like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Fair.
They're not ready yet. Some of them. Some are. But some aren't, and that's fine. I love it. So loan them out.
He loves it.
You're in.
Okay.
Ish.
That's all I got.
I love it. Or what if you don't loan them in your division? That's fine. Somewhere outside your division. All right, JR. Keep bringing the heat.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Timmy. Another great show. We appreciate all of you, as always. My friendly reminder to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast, and then follow us at Unfiltered Soccer on social media. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, VW, our Fan Connection sponsor, AT&T, and our Stoppage Time sponsor, FanDuel.
Thanks also to our Unfiltered Refresh sponsor, Coors Light, and our additional sponsor, Airbnb. Have an amazing week. We'll be back next Tuesday with another edition of Unfiltered Soccer.